First, we have to understand that there's a connection illusion. You and I, we think we're more connected than ever, right? Because we have AI and email and texting and social media, we feel like we're more connected than ever, but that is false. That is so false. It's so untrue. Because there's a big difference between communication and connection. Those two things, not the same thing. Let's unpack it. Communication is the exchanging of information, and you and I process this in the front part of our brain, whereas connection is a feeling of understanding and an ease of communication between people, and we actually process this in the back part of our brain. So think of it this way. If you've ever texted, "I love you" to a significant other, that's wonderful. That's a great pro-social behavior we should probably all be doing more of. But just know that text is only communication. It doesn't become connection until they hear the tone of your voice. The tone of our voice is one of the best ways for us to connect with each other. Tone of your voice, or they see your body language, or they feel your embrace. That's when your brain clicks it from communication to connection, which is what we're all after. So that's a big difference. So know this, technology enables communication, not connection. We need to keep using technology. We need to use it to be great communicators, because as leaders, you have to be really good communicators, but we need to stop making the assumption that we're communicating over the technology, because that's not happening. Here's a really sticky way to remember this. Communication is dealt, but connection is felt. Your brain knows the difference, and if you want to be effective next generation leaders, we've got to move from communication to connection, and that's our final practice. Trade communication for connection. Where can you trade a phone call, or a text message for a phone call, or a in-person, if you're doing a virtual meeting, how do you trade that for maybe an in-person meeting? Or how do you trade a statement for a question? These are all small trade-offs you and I can move from communication to connection. And where this intersects you is, of course, your leadership competencies around communication and collaboration. If we want to have the best communication as leaders, if we want to have the most effective collaboration, again, that seed starts with connection. So let me give you one example of how one organization does this. There's a practice that we teach for a lot of organizations that want to lean into this called Connect Fives, where one person shares one non-work related picture for just 5 minutes. So at the start of a meeting, most meetings, what are they? It's just communication, right? We're delegating, we're informing. There's rarely ever connection. And so you take 5 minutes at the top of the meeting where that one person will share a photo and they talk about it, and there's a small connection. And recently we were talking to a group that has been doing this for months, and they said, we're finally starting to see the human behind the job. We're finally starting to see the human behind the job. So one way to trade communication for connection.